Hello one and all, and welcome back to another episode of From the Cinema. It is the beginning of a brand new season, and today I am going to be talking about the movie that's supposed to be getting people back into the movies, but because of COVID, it's not really going to be happening, Tenet. Now, this film is written and directed by Christopher Nolan. If you somehow don't know who that is, he's made a lot of movies you might have heard of, the Dark Knight trilogy, Inception, some other good movies. So, yeah, he's made another one, so that's pretty cool. So Tenet stars John David Washington, Robert Pattinson, Elizabeth Debicki, and Kenneth Branagh. And without really getting into many spoilerly details, Tenet follows a man played by John David Washington who's tasked with figuring out how to stop Kenneth Branagh's character from destroying the entire world as we know it. But to do so, he needs to figure out and understand this new thing called time inversion. It's not time travel, but it's where things go backwards in time while time is still currently going forwards. That's the best that I can explain what this movie is about without really getting into any details. But this was a pretty cool movie. I'm going to say, though, this is not a movie for everyone, and specifically it comes down to really some factors with the characters and with the story itself. Now, when you look at the characters in the movie, there's not a whole lot of characterization or character growth as you would see in many normal blockbuster movies, but that's kind of purposeful with how the story itself unfolds. And when it comes to the story, there's a lot of things that you don't really get a whole lot of explanation about. There's things in the details of the story that go by really fast for a 2.5-hour movie, but if it's like a blink and you miss it, if you don't hear and understand those details, there's going to be a lot of things that you won't understand. And there's still some things that don't have a full explanation, like the time inversion itself. There's a literal line in the movie that says, "Don't think about it, just accept it." It's basically Nolan just saying, like, look, I may know what it is, or I may not know what it is, but hey, it looks cool, so you're just gonna have to accept it. And yes, it is cool, but there's a part of me that wishes that there was a bit more of explanation as to how certain things work. Like in the finale, there's people going forwards in time and backwards in time at the same time, guns blazing, explosions everywhere. It's just like, what the hell is happening? Like, how does it work? And all these kinds of thoughts went into my head. And I know I'm supposed to accept it, but it's kind of hard for me to accept it when I don't really understand how it works. And while inherently the characters not having a whole lot of development and growth throughout the film, that's not necessarily a problem, but Nolan has had a problem in the past, especially with me, when it comes to this. So for Dunkirk, none of the characters had any kind of characterization or motivation or anything like that, so I wasn't attached to any of them in the slightest in that film, and that definitely made the film worse in my eyes. For some people, it seems to have worked. I don't know how, but it shouldn't have. But I get what he was going for there, but I feel like here it works better because of the situation of the film and the story as a whole. You don't necessarily need to see these characters go through growth and changes and things like that, and you get hints of their personality in their dialogue and the things that they do. But just because I am who I am, I wish with just a tiny bit more of some kind of development or growth of some kind, just a tiny bit. Nowhere near as bad as Dunkirk was with that, but for me, I just would like a tiny bit more. Now, while those are my complaints of the film, the rest of the movie is awesome. Tenet is, wow. How did he do it? The time inversion action in this movie, I don't know how he filmed this, because typically when it's stuff like this, you would have them filmed on a green screen going backwards in time. But here, simultaneous action going forwards and backwards in time happen at the exact same time. Backwards explosions happen while people are running forward through them. How did he film this? I don't understand, but I would love to understand. I think what's really smart about how Nolan crafted the story, time inversion, and all that is it leaves you wanting to know more. It leaves you wanting to trying to understand more. Even if you don't get a sequel, I hope that we get some kind of sequel. It still can leave you satisfied that you've seen something that you have never seen before and done in such a practical and an awesome way that only Nolan could do. If any other director tried doing this, it just would have been CGI, green screens, nothing would have looked real. It still would look cool, but when you have Nolan, he brings that practicality to it and makes it happen right before our eyes. So it's this is even cooler. So having that, you feel satisfied with seeing the film. But for me, I want to see more of what this time inversion concept can do, and I want to see this world built on even further. Again, will we get more explanations as to how certain things work? I have absolutely no idea. But Tenet was still a very awesome and very cool experience. And while personally I feel like that a little bit more explanations here and there as to how time inversion works and things about this world work, and then just a tiny bit of characterization just would have helped just a tiny bit, at least for me. Overall, Tenet was an awesome and amazing experience, and I absolutely loved it. I had a great time. It's not personally my favorite Nolan film, but besides that, I'm going to give Tenet an 8 out of 10. I thought I had a blast with this, besides almost losing my hearing. I thought it was great. I had a fun time. I would love to see it again, just try to dissect it even more and figure out what everything means. So that was my review of Tenet. Have you seen Tenet? If you feel safe to see Tenet, what did you think about it? Did you like it as much as I did? Did you hate it? Do you have theories and ideas? Let me know down in the comments below. And as for this season of From the Cinema as a whole, things are going to be happening a bit different because there's not many theatrical movies coming out right now, obviously because of COVID. There's going to be a lot more streaming movies that I'll be reviewing, some movies on like Netflix, Amazon, Disney Plus, that kind of thing, and then also older movies that have like been out for a long time. I'll be checking some of those out. I'll be having more analytical videos dissecting certain things. I'll be having some interviews. I want to just change things up a bit this season. I want to add a bit more flavor to how certain things are done. And yeah, so if you want to check out all that stuff, make sure you subscribe to Mixing Cable Network. If you want to see any of the reviews or video essays that I've done, subscribe to my YouTube channel, Josh Rudolph. Follow us on all of our social medias, and I will see you all next time.